Hey, how are you?
Good.
Good. Karen?
Mike, why was it important to extend Marcus Jones at this time?
I think it's something that, we've talked about and wanted to, I think he embodies everything that we're looking for here in a player and a teammate on the field and the community. Something that we were excited about doing and glad that he wanted to get that done and be with us moving forward.
Mike Smith said last month that Keon White was going to be a big part of what you guys do. Why did you feel it was important to move on now?
I think that, just the timing of everything and where we're at as a team, we felt like it was, the right thing to do. And we get a lot of guys in that room, and we just felt like at this particular time to make those moves that we made with him and Kyle, and really better make our focus here against the Falcons, a team that we don't know much about, haven't played in 5 years or 4 or 5 years. So wish Keon the best, wish Kyle the best, appreciate their professionalism, and added some other guys here to the roster too.
Mike, specific on Keon, I know he played in the last preseason game. You give him a shot there. He's also someone who started camp as kind of a first-team starter role. Why do you think ultimately it just didn't work out with him?
I'm not trying to, figure those things out. I'm trying to prepare the team for the Falcons and wish him the best of luck. And we have a huge challenge here. Again, taking on a great skill team offensively with a lot of speed and home run hitting ability. Defense, it's hardly gives up a lot of yards. Certainly tough throwing the football against them. AJ Terrell's having another fantastic year. Bates, if you make a mistake and be a turnover. A lot of young rushers. So again, those are the things that I'm focused on right now.
Mike, to that end, what kind of challenges does Bijan Robinson present?
Many. I think if there's any crack, he's going to test our edge. He's going to test our wall, and he's going to test everything we do about having guys swarming to the football. There's been some good defenses that he's been able to, gain yards against. In their 3 victories, they average 186 yards a game on the ground, and it's not like they're manufacturing a lot. Not a lot of those are the quarterback. It's Bijan and Algier.
What are you seeing from Drake, maybe before the snap, after the snap, that's helping him have success with the deep ball?
Well, I think there's a lot of trust there. I think it starts with trust. I think just being able to put it in a position where those guys can make a play. So again, I think that there's one trust, it's location, and then guys are doing a good job down the field. I mean, we had one that was, taken away earlier in New Orleans with a tough, decision there from the referee, but that's how it goes. Even Ramondre's the other day. Ramondre comes down with the ball. It's just, a little wide. And so again, I think the guys that he's been throwing to have helped him. And I think he stays patient. I don't think he panics and launches it or throws it 7 yards out of bounds. But I think there's been a lot of improvement from training camp and seeing some of those passes. And I don't think there was as many completed in the regular season as there were in preseason. I'm glad we're saved. I'm glad we saved them for the regular season. So I think there's a lot of things that go into it. Certainly when you do those longer developing routes, there has to be a good pocket, for the quarterback to step up in. And I think that's been the case as well.
With things going so well for you guys, obviously 5 straight wins and a lot of handy wins. Does it almost challenge you in a way to avoid complacency setting in with your team?
I think that's what we're always trying to do, is not allow these good times, soften us up mentally and just let things slip that, we didn't, things we weren't doing earlier in the season, or the way that we prepare, or the things that we, want to believe in as a team. And so it's always a good reminder, especially in this league where anything can happen. Talk about having an identity, and the identity doesn't care where you play. It doesn't care what time it is, and it doesn't care what the score is. It just you either have it or you don't.
Mike,
You have some.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think even before the season started, you told us, and the players echo, that you wanted to be a team who is be stronger in the second half than first half of games and finished, I'm paraphrasing, but finished strong. Certainly something we saw in last week's game. What do you think are the commonalities that have made this team stronger in that game and
I
another?
think they're conditioning. I think that they're working during the week. I think they practice hard as you get into the second half of the game. I don't think that we panic based on where the score is or who's getting the ball or, I think we've adjusted well. I think our players, again, even little things, maybe the speed of the Browns and the defense, I think that's hard to recreate early in the game, where there may be one run that we had early in the game didn't look too hot, and come back in it later in the game and you see, linemen getting off on the backer that's running through just, a half a step sooner and able to get the block and get the back through, as opposed to, maybe earlier in the game it was a little faster than what we had been able to show them in practice. So the players do a good job of adjusting to some of those things, and can still be better. Still too sloppy in some situations, and we'll need to be great at much better in the red zone if we're able to get down there this week.
Mike, Michael Penix and was obviously out last week, and you'll have some uncertainty to deal with. I think he's going to be out there today. And we're just doing a walkthrough. But between him and Cousins, you have to prepare fully for both guys.
Well, I mean, there's more mobility, and which hand you're going to use to match, and that was the thing. I thought we did a nice job getting our hand on the football last week. We had 8 PBUs, and we got a couple at the line of scrimmage in the pass rush situation, and those usually end up getting intercepted. So we'll practice, both ways, and we'll have to make sure that one's a little bit more mobile than the other, and then be ready to go. I think the concepts are similar, but there'll be some different play styles that are different between obviously Michael and Kirk.
Mike, you're putting your game plan together. How much of it all do you take into account the officiating?
No, I don't think that's something. We remind them of some things, and maybe whether it was last week with a crew that had called a lot of line of scrimmage penalties, or things we talked about on Wednesday. Starting early on about make sure that the receivers are checking, that they're looking over, they're looking at the foot, that the defensive lineman, if you think you're close, back up. Told same crew that we had in Miami, and can explain to those things and say, hey, whether you think you're in the neutral zone with this particular crew, you probably are, and maybe you lined up the same way for 3 weeks and had a different crew and somebody called it differently. So we talk about those things, but as far as game planning, I don't think that's something that would go into it. More reminders and about play style and things that we have to do and what their mechanics are.
Cyrus Tonka has been instrumental in helping with the run game, stopping the run game this season. Considering you are going up against Bijan this week, just what have you seen from him this season, and just why is that he's so effective?
Well, great teammate. First and foremost, great person. Love being around him. Plays square, plays with his hands, tries to control the blocker, plays with great effort. And so those things usually help you, at the line of scrimmage.
Since defense is at the top well this year, was there any hesitation to shake up the roster?
I'm sorry?
Since things have been going so well with buy-in and just chemistry on the team, was there any hesitation about the idea of shaking up the roster this week?
Well, again, I'll remind you, we're 8 games into what we feel like is a program that we want to build, and we have to continue to find ways to improve, figure it and get it right. And that's all we're trying to do, whether that's having success early on in the season or mid-season or after the trade deadline, whatever that may be. I think we just have to continue to take that approach.
How big are the opportunities now for people like Del Pettis and Elijah Ponder? How much are we looking on those guys?
Yeah, I mean, we ask everybody to prepare as a starter, whether they're on the practice squad or they're on the active roster, and I know that those guys have been doing that, and we'll need everybody through this course of the season, so that's important at every position.
Falcons pass rush is near the top of the league in sack rate, time to pressure, blitz rate. I'm curious, who and what have you seen that's made them so effective this season?
Well, they like to send 5 out of base. That's something that they like to do. I think that they're penetrating. I think Onyata has always been a really good player. Being able to just get guys on the edge, being able to get Walker back and seeing where they are, and Harrison with his length inside. He's kind of like a hybrid 4 technique, I think. Haven't seen him since he was in high school in Columbus. He's gone from like 200 pounds to now 290. And that's just a unique matchup for an interior defensive lineman that kind of has that skill set, who looks like an outside linebacker, but probably, rushes inside. So I think that's helped. I think that they just are kind of getting it done by a group. They play a lot of guys, and so by playing a lot of guys, you get their best, I would say, energy. And there's some games and schemes, and other than that, it's usually one-on-one, and guys are winning one-on-one. So that'll put a big premium for us up front when they get us into those 5-down situations.
Like, they're also up there in terms of main coverage that they play. Is that just a staple of this is what we do, this is how we want to play, or do you see that as the teams they face in this game and week to week?
Well, they do what they do. They have some wrinkles, but they also have corners. Like, you throw it on Terrell, he's going to be really close to his guy. He's going to challenge and compete. And the safeties, obviously, with Bates and his ability. But they put the backers in coverage, and then they all tackle well. It's a good tackling football team. So they don't really give up a lot of big plays because of missed tackles, and they're able to, turn those catches, have some space maybe in the middle of the field into a 15-yard gain as opposed to a 25 or 30-yard gain because of the way they tackle.
The way Drake handles the demands of that position, like away from the field, that come from the court.
From all accounts, I think fairly well. He's a pretty low-key guy, but you see him in the community, you see him. I think that whatever interest he has outside of football, he's helping the community and the kids. And he was at the Halloween party last night. He's always involved in the Special Olympics, and so again, I don't really monitor what he does a whole lot, but I know that he's a great representative of this organization.
Right,